As you have learned to subtract two-digit numbers by lining them up vertically, you have probably run into some problems like this. We've got the instruction to subtract 53 minus 37. So we line our two numbers up vertically, and we know that we start by subtracting the digits in the ones place. So I come over here and I see that in my ones column I have 3 minus 7, and I realize that I have a problem. I cannot subtract 7 from 3 and get a positive number. And I know that I cannot put a negative number in my ones place in an answer like this. And so to solve this problem, we need to do something called borrowing. So let's take a look at what borrowing involves. I would begin by looking at my 53 in a little different way. And so I've got 53, which is my top number here, and I'm going to look at it as 5 tens and 3 ones. And so I've drawn a little example here. Each of these bars that I have here are a little difficult to see because I've drawn them real small, but what I have in each of these bars is 10 little squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little squares make up a bar of 10. So for the 50 part of my 53, I can think of this as having 5 tens. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of 10 to represent my 50. And then the 3 I can think of as 3 ones. And so what we need to do when we borrow is that we're going to borrow one of our 10 bars here, and we're going to move it over into the ones space. And so I'm going to take this 10, this set of 10, and I'm going to erase it from the 10 section, and I'm going to move it over, or borrow the 10, and I'm going to now put it in my ones section. And so what I'm going to do is count out 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I just borrowed 10 squares essentially from the tens section, and I moved them over to the ones section. And so now instead of having 5 tens and 3 ones, watch this, I now have 4 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, and instead of 3 ones, I now have 13 ones. I have 13 little squares over here now because I borrowed 10 and added it to the 3. And so I have the same total number of squares in my problem, but I've just rearranged them so that I can do the subtraction. So now I'm going to rewrite my problem here of 53 minus 37. And seeing what we've done here visually with the little squares, I can do in my problem here with just my numbers. So I can see here that in the ones column, I am now going to have 13 ones instead of 3. And in the tens column, instead of having 5 tens, I now have 4 tens. So this here becomes my new problem. Instead of 53 minus 37, I've rearranged it, and now I've got a 4 instead of a 5 in my tens column, and I have 13 ones to work with now. So now I'm in good shape to do my subtraction. 13 minus 7, I have a positive answer of 6. And so I can go right below my 13 and my 7 here and put my answer of 6. 13 minus 7 equals 6. And then I move over to my tens column and I simply do my subtraction here. 4 minus 3 equals 1. And so you can see that once we've rearranged and we've borrowed from the tens place, it really becomes a very simple subtraction problem. 13 minus 7 equals 6, and 4 minus 3 equals 1. And so I now have my solution of 16. 53 minus 37 equals 16.